Nikkei Asia News Roundup
with Jada and Brian. Welcome to the Nikkei Asia News Roundup with your hosts Jada and Brian,
bringing you the latest updates and insights on the dynamic world of Asia and more.
Now let's delve into the headlines. This program is brought to you by Nikkei.
Indonesia has announced plans to purchase 42 Chinese J-10 fighter jets for $9 billion, as well as missile boats and anti-ship missiles from Beijing. The decision is the latest element of President Prabowo Subianto's military buildup, with $3.9 billion budgeted for new equipment this year alone.
Philippine conglomerates are forming partnerships with Chinese and Vietnamese electric vehicle companies, accelerating the spread of EVs in a market dominated by Japanese automakers late to the electrification game.
Condominium prices in Tokyo continue to climb, spurred by both rising construction costs and a decline in available land. The average price of a condo in the greater Tokyo area has risen by 62.3% compared with 2015 prices as a whole, according to data from the Real Estate Economic Institute.
Vietnam's parliament said it would increase income tax deductions by 40%, aiming to help families cope with inflation and enjoy the fruits of socio-economic development at a time when businesses are worrying about plateauing consumption.
India's ice cream market was valued at approximately $3.4 billion in 2024 and is expected to reach $12.2 billion by 2033. This growth is being marked by a rise in artisanal brands crafting new flavors.
Producers of Baijiu, a traditional Chinese liquor, have been focusing on creating low-alcohol versions since social drinking events with the strong spirit are declining. Now moving on to the next segment.
Chinese women's market power brings their stories to the big screen. The most anticipated cinematic opening at the end of October in China was After Typhoon, an art house feature directed by Li Yu and centered on female friendship, according to users of Maoyan, China's leading ticketing platform. Things in China are changing, said Yao Chen, who co-stars in the drama alongside UFC champion fighter Zhang Weili in her acting debut. For a long time, there have been more women than men in theaters, said Yao, who also co-produced the film. They buy the tickets and choose the films when couples go out, but the industry has only noticed and begun to act on this recently. As with its counterparts in Hollywood and elsewhere, China's film industry, Asia's largest by revenue, has been in a funk. For female filmmakers, this has created an opening to offer stories attuned to women's perspectives, breaking with the Chinese movie industry's traditional focus on masculine themes like war and combat. The results are shaking up the country's box office. YOLO, the comedic tale of a recluse overcoming personal setbacks by committing herself to boxing, emerged as last year's surprise box office champion, taking in 3.42 billion won, or $480 million, in domestic ticket sales. It was also the first film directed by a woman to ever come out at the top of China's annual rankings. And its success was no fluke. On its heels, the drama Her Story was the unexpected hit of the 2024 year-end period, bringing in 712.9 million won from audiences taking in the tale of a single mother, her young daughter, and their female neighbor dealing with the pitfalls of life in contemporary Shanghai.
Asian business schools see growth as interest in U.S. programs wanes. Asian business schools are seeing stronger interest from international postgraduate students as visa policy changes in the U.S. and geopolitical uncertainty shift the global flow of talent. The United States saw a 3% drop in foreign student applications for business programs in the 2025-26 academic year compared with the year before. according to a survey by the Graduate Management and Mission Council, an international nonprofit. The figure for 2024-25 was a 1% increase. East and Southeast Asia recorded 42% year-on-year growth, while India saw a 26% increase for the same period in international applications. Geopolitical changes, visa restrictions, and growing reputations for Asian institutions are encouraging more foreign students to apply to business studies in the region, according to GMAC. GMAC said those seeking advanced business degrees in Asia are looking to study closer to home, especially in places like India, Singapore, and Hong Kong, where English is the language used in class.
And now for news highlights. In this episode, Jada and I have a discussion about a recent article that has particularly captured our attention.
And today we are going to talk about our latest article from the Data Watch series, and this is about rising social costs of dementia care.
This is something that has a... Actually, let me start out with some statistics they have in here.
They have a lot in here, as you can probably tell by the name
Data
Watch.
Yeah. In the early 2020s, like 2022, 2025, these stats are in here. But China had 10 million people with dementia-related illnesses. That includes Alzheimer's and other various situations. That is expected to grow to 32 million by 2050. Japan has 4.4 million. That is expected to grow to 5.8 million, which is interesting because Japan has a shrinking population, but that population is going to grow. U.S. has 6.5 million currently. India to go from 4 million to 12.5 million. The thing is, these are all things that governments and businesses and places have to be aware of, because this causes a burden not just on the people suffering from it, but on the families and on the economy.
Yes, and it's it's saying the social cost of this is, in the U.S., it's exceeded $1 trillion. So this includes, loss of labor opportunities for caregiving, for the families that are caregiving these patients. And not just in the U.S., but the social cost is expected to obviously go up in the countries that you mentioned as the dementia population grows, unfortunately.
Because one of the burdens on caring for people with dementia is that it's not just the medical costs, it's also the cost of time and labor of people who are taking care of them. That's usually family members.
The article also pointed out something that I guess I never really thought of, but, it talks about dementia is not really a near-term death, but it, gradually impairs a person's ability to lead life ordinarily. So these social costs are something that is going to grow over time and just, slowly increase and driving up the overall social economic burden of these families. So, it's something that they have to deal with over time as well.
And a lot of the people who are taking care of people with dementia are in their 40s and 50s, which is the prime professional age in terms of earnings and what contributions to professional society, I guess you could put it as. And at the end of the story, they mention this thing about caregivers themselves are often at risk of developing cognitive impairment when they have limited social interactions and work in isolation. So it's this compounding effect that's going on here.
I see. I think it's also, good to note that in mostly in Asian countries like Japan, China, the dementia patients are primarily cared for by their families, not, nursing homes or hospitals or institutions. So that's why this burden on the caregiving families is expected to be, I guess, heavier, because they are trying to deal it at home.
Yeah, that's one of the graphs in this Data Watch is actually the United States the cost of dementia care. In the U.S., like 19% of it is medical and 24% of it is nursing care. And more than half, 56%, is burdens on unpaid caregivers. And if your statement earlier about Asian societies being a little more focused on family helping out, that's probably even higher.
Yeah.
And probably going to get higher.
True.
But there's also an opinion piece we had recently which talks about the new Prime Minister of Japan, Sanae Takaichi, who she had a quote when she was first elected as leader of the party. Just before she became Prime Minister, she famously or infamously said she doesn't believe in the work-life balance.
Oh, yeah.
And that stirred some comments from people, some opinions. And the qualifier is that she meant people in her party, but she's also famously, quote, a workaholic. I mean, you kind of have to be a world leader, I guess.
Because she said she would work.
Yeah, a lot of work.
The emphasis on work, yeah.
But the opinion piece is talking about what's happening in Japan and how it's not just work-life balance. You got to think of work-family balance. And it does dabble a little bit into how Japan kind of has an infamous reputation of death by overwork. Or people doing excessive overtime. And there were overtime laws put into effect a few years ago. And the problem is, are these being effective? And one of the things the new Prime Minister has been hinting at is easing those overtime laws so people can work more overtime. And so we've got this tug and pull going on. And when you see the dementia statistics and the aging population and the decline in working age population, I don't know how much making the burden working age population how much that can actually increase help in productivity until you reach a certain point where you have to kind of fundamentally rethink how this works.
And that brings us to the close of today's episode.
We look forward to having you join up again for the next edition of the Nikkei Asia News Roundup.
Stay informed, stay curious. Until next time, I'm Jada.
And I'm Brian. See you again, and take care. This program is brought to you by Nikkei.